Hello, sports fans. It is Monday, March the 17th, the year 2014, and as always, a lot to get to in the sports world, so let's get it going right now. Great to be back with you guys. Happy St. Patrick's Day to you. Remember, today everyone is Irish. If you're going out, please be safe. Without further ado, it's March Madness time. The college basketball brackets are out. I am pumped and ready to go. Look forward to this tournament each and every year. It's a fabulous event. 68 teams, one and done. Always a lot of drama. Doesn't get any better than that. All right, before I pick each and every game, a couple of notes here. Number one, the Midwest bracket is loaded. They made things so difficult for Wichita State, who's the 1 seed in this bracket. They have Louisville a 4 seed in this bracket, which is absolutely ridiculous. Some people thought Louisville should have been a 1, maybe a 2. They're a 4 seed. That's a joke. They have Kentucky an 8 seed in this bracket. The Midwest is loaded. Wichita State is going to have all kinds of trouble getting to the Final Four. I think the Midwest is the best bracket. I think the East is second, South is third, and the West is fourth. Also, I had no problem whatsoever with Virginia being that fourth number 1 seed. There was some debate whether it was going to be Virginia or Michigan. Not after yesterday. Virginia wins the ACC tournament, beating Duke, and Michigan got blasted by Michigan State in the Big Ten tournament. So that should have ended any debate. Virginia definitely deserved that last number 1 seed. Also, SMU got snubbed out of this tournament. It's funny, you can't take those college basketball rankings seriously during the year, those top 25 rankings. 2 weeks ago, they had SMU ranked 15. And here we are a couple weeks later, and SMU is not even in the top 68. I'll tell you, the committee does not like a few things. Number one, they don't like when you play a soft schedule outside of your conference. That's what the SMU did. They don't like when you fade down the stretch of the season. That's what SMU did. And they don't like when you lose in the first round of your conference tournament, which SMU also did. All those things hurt the Mustangs. Listen, Larry Brown and SMU had a fabulous year. They just missed the NCAA tournament. They go to the NIT. All right, let's start picking some of these games. I'm not going to pick the playing games. I'm not a big playing game lover. To me, the tournament starts on Thursday. But Tuesday and Wednesday, you do have some games. Tuesday, you have Albany against Mount St. Mary's, and then you have NC State against Xavier. That's an interesting game. Then on Wednesday, you have Cal Poly against Texas Southern, and you have Iowa against Tennessee. Also an interesting game. I'm going to start picking the games on Thursday, though. Let's start in the South. Let's go to the number 1 overall seed, the Florida Gators. They will play the number 16 seed, Albany or Mount St. Mary. Listen, this is a no-brainer. I mean, Florida's going to win this game by 100 points. This game will be over, within the first 10 minutes. Albany and Mount St. Mary's had a nice year. They make the tournament, but their season is over as soon as they play Florida. As soon as that ball is thrown up to start the game, that game is over. Florida all the way. They cruise in that game. The 8-9 game, you have Colorado against Pittsburgh in the South. Very interesting game. Colorado lost their best player to a season-ending injury. This is not a vintage Pittsburgh team. They do play good defense, but it's not a vintage Pitt team. They have been playing better lately, though, Pitt. I'm going to go with Pitt here. I think this is an ugly 45-42 game. That favors Pitt. I'll take Pitt there. Also, you have Virginia Commonwealth against Stephen F. Austin. That's the 5-12 matchup. I'm going to pick an upset here. I'm going to take Stephen F. Austin. I think they're 31-2 this year. They have a huge winning streak. I don't love this Virginia Commonwealth team. Now, we all love Virginia Commonwealth. We all love the coach. They've made some great runs in the past. But sometimes you get picked off in the first round. I mean, I don't care who you are, whether you're Kansas, Duke. Sometimes you get picked off in the first round. I think Virginia Commonwealth, who's had a habit of picking off teams and making big runs, I think the tables are turned on them this year. I think Stephen F. Austin upsets Virginia Commonwealth in that 5-12 game. In the 4-13 game, you have UCLA and Tulsa. UCLA just won the Pac-12 tournament. Very nice win by UCLA. They beat Arizona in the title game. I like UCLA to beat Tulsa. On the bottom half of the South bracket, you have Ohio State against Dayton. Boy, this is an interesting matchup. An in-state rivalry game. Dayton's been dying to play Ohio State for years. Ohio State hasn't scheduled them. Very interesting game. Dayton finally gets their shot at the big boys in Ohio State. That's all fine and good, but they have to now actually beat Ohio State. I don't think they have the talent to do it. I will take Ohio State in that game. That's the 6-11 matchup. Then in the 3-14 matchup, you have Syracuse and Western Michigan. Syracuse faded down the stretch. I expect them to rebound. They will beat Western Michigan. Syracuse advances there. Then in the 7-10 matchup, interesting game, New Mexico against Stanford. I actually think New Mexico should be better than a 7 seed. I think they got not a good seed here at all. They should be better than that, especially since they won that conference tournament. I do think Stanford has the recipe to beat New Mexico. They play a style New Mexico doesn't like. But I just think New Mexico is a better team, so I'm going to take New Mexico here. And then on the very bottom, you have Kansas, the 2 seed, against Eastern Kentucky, the 15 seed. Remember, Kansas is going to be without their big man. Hopefully they get him back after a couple games. We'll see how he plays when he does come back. If he comes back, they will have more than enough to beat Eastern Kentucky. So that is the South in the first round. Let's go down to the East. The number 1 seed, the Virginia Cavaliers, off their big ACC tournament win, play the number 16 seed, the Coastal Carolina team. Listen, Virginia's going to win this game. Virginia is a tough, defensive, gritty team. The coach has done a fabulous job with this team. Unbelievable job. Virginia, to me, is the story of the year in college basketball. They will beat Coastal Carolina. In the 8-9 game, you have Memphis against George Washington. Very interesting game. I think Memphis has better athletes here, though. I kind of like Memphis in this game. I think Memphis moves on. Then you have Cincinnati against Harvard in the 5-12 matchup. This is going to be an interesting game. This should be a low-scoring game. You know, Harvard, they're very dangerous. You know, Cincinnati likes to play these ugly, slug-them-out, just defensive games. I think Cincinnati has more than enough for Harvard. I think Cincinnati gets through. In the 4-13 game, you have Michigan State against Delaware. I love what Michigan State's doing now. They win the Big Ten tournament. They're healthy. Keep an eye on them. They will beat Delaware. On the bottom half of the Eastern bracket, you have North Carolina against Providence. That's the 6-11 matchup. North Carolina is a flaky team. They're up, they're down. Providence just won the Big East tournament. Overall, though, I think when North Carolina plays their best game, they have too much for Providence. I think North Carolina beats Providence. In the 3-14 matchup, you have Iowa State against North Carolina Central. Remember, Iowa State just won the Big 12 tournament. I like Iowa State. I like Iowa State here. I think Iowa State is going to do some things in this tournament. I expect them to win here. In the 7-10 matchup, you have UConn against St. Joseph's. Very interesting game. Remember, St. Joseph's just won the Atlantic 10 tournament, and UConn had a nice run in their tournament before they lost to Louisville. Very interesting game. I'm going to go with UConn. I think they have better players. I think they have the best player on the floor. I'm going to go with UConn there. And then the bottom, the 2-15 matchup, Villanova against Milwaukee. Hey, you know I love Jay Wright. Villanova doesn't have great players, but they have a collection of good players. They will have more than enough to beat Milwaukee. So that is the East. That's the first round East. Let's head up to the West. The 1-16 matchup. Number 1, Arizona against number 16, Weber State. You got to like Arizona here. Listen, I know they lost to UCLA in their conference tournament, but Arizona was playing good at the end of the year. Despite losing one of their better players, they will beat Weber State. In the 8-9 game, you have Gonzaga against Oklahoma State. Very interesting game. Now, I don't love this Gonzaga team. This is not a vintage Gonzaga team, and I think Oklahoma State is dangerous. I will take Oklahoma State in this game. In the 5-12 matchup, you have Oklahoma against North Dakota State. A lot of people are taking North Dakota State in this game. Not me. I'll take Oklahoma. I like the coach. I think Oklahoma wins. Then in the 4-13 game, you have San Diego State against New Mexico State. I love Fisher as the coach. San Diego State plays some great defense. They will beat New Mexico State. On the bottom half of the West bracket, you have the 6-11 matchup, Baylor against Nebraska. Baylor really played well down the stretch. So did Nebraska. Two interesting stories this year. I like Nebraska in this game. Baylor, to me, is too flaky. They're too up and down. I will take Nebraska. In the 3-14 matchup, you have Creighton and Louisiana Lafayette. I'll take McDermott and Creighton hitting all those threes. Creighton moves on. 7-10 matchup, Oregon against BYU. I don't think BYU should have been in the tournament, so I'll take Oregon. And the 2-15 matchup, Wisconsin against American. You got to take Wisconsin. The game is in Milwaukee. It's going to be a Wisconsin house. I'll take Wisconsin there. That is the West first round. Down to the Midwest we go. 1:16 matchup. Wichita State, who's undefeated, will play the winner of Cal Poly against Texas Southern. Wichita State will beat either of those teams. As far as the 8-9 game, you have Kentucky against Kansas State. What a fabulous game that is. I will take Kentucky. I like the way they played in the SEC tournament. 5-12 matchup, St. Louis against the winner of NC State and Xavier. Very interesting game. I like the way St. Louis plays, so I'm going to take them. I love the way they play. They're very organized, very disciplined, very fundamentally sound team. I'll take St. Louis. 4-13 matchup, Louisville against Manhattan. You got to love Louisville there. Bottom half of the Midwest bracket, UMass, the 6th seed, will play the 11th seed, the winner of Iowa and Tennessee. Boy, that's a strange matchup. I don't love UMass, but I don't love Iowa and Tennessee either, so I'll take UMass to get through, although I don't love them. 3-14 matchup, Duke-Mercer. You got to love Duke here. 7-10 matchup, Texas-Arizona State. I like Texas here. And the 2-15 matchup, Michigan against Wofford. You got to go with Michigan in that game. So that is your first round games. Let's get to the second round. Let's go back up to the South. Florida will be playing Pitt, according to my bracket. You got to love Florida here. Like I said, this is not a vintage Pittsburgh team, so Florida should have no problems dusting Pitt. You have Stephen F. Austin against UCLA. I will take UCLA in this matchup. Down to the bottom half of the bracket, very interesting game, Ohio State and Syracuse. I'll take Syracuse with that matchup zone. I trust Boeheim. I don't trust Ohio State. And then you have a very nice game, New Mexico against Kansas. Kansas without their big man. New Mexico is a very good team. This could be a possible upset. I could see this game going either way, but I will take Kansas. I like Bill Self. They have so many pros on that team, Kansas, with Wiggins. I am going to take Kansas to get through that game. Won't be easy, though. All right, down to the East we go. The second round of the East, I have Virginia playing Memphis. I think Virginia's defense is too much for Memphis. I will take Virginia to advance on. Cincinnati will play Michigan State. I mean, you talk about a slugfest. I mean, they're going to need ice packs after this game. Michigan State too talented for Cincinnati, though. I'll take Michigan State. Bottom half of the bracket, North Carolina against Iowa State. Iowa State was my surprise team at the beginning of the year. I like Iowa State. I think they are going to beat North Carolina. I like Iowa State moving on. And Villanova against UConn, the old Big East matchup. I like Villanova moving on in this game. Villanova to beat UConn. Let's go up to the West, second round. I have Arizona playing Oklahoma State. And I went back and forth on this game for a while. If you're looking for a big upset, this might be it. I don't have the guts to do it, though. I'm going to take Arizona. I'm going to be conservative. Would not shock me at all if Oklahoma State beat Arizona. Oklahoma State can do some things to befuddle Arizona. Oklahoma State's going to play a zone, force Arizona to shoot from the outside. But I think Arizona playing out west there, it's going to be an Arizona house. Arizona plays good defense. I think Arizona barely gets through. Very interesting game in the second round. Also, you have Oklahoma against San Diego State, another very nice game. I think San Diego State's defense will be too much. I like San Diego State there. Down to the bottom half of the West bracket, round 2. Nebraska against Creighton. Remember, Creighton is in Omaha. Nebraska in Lincoln, a battle of Nebraska. I think Creighton gets through this game. And then you have Wisconsin against Oregon. Oregon's another one of these flaky teams. They're up, they're down, they're all over the place. I'll take Wisconsin. They're more organized. I will take Wisconsin to beat Oregon. Down to the Midwest we go. Second round. Wichita State against Kentucky in the second round. Are you kidding me? How awful is Wichita State's bracket? I mean, do you realize the teams they're going to have to beat to get to the Final Four? I don't think it's going to happen. I think Wichita State's going out in round 2. I think UK upsets Wichita State in round 2. I like Kentucky to beat Wichita State. St. Louis against Louisville. Very interesting game. Louisville's just too good, though. I like Louisville there. Then the bottom half of the Midwest, UMass against Duke. I like Duke. I'm not a big fan of UMass. I could actually see UMass losing in the first round, so I'll take Duke here. And then Texas, Michigan, two big programs. I like Michigan. Beeline's a good big game coach. Plus, Michigan has experience. They were in the Final Four last year. I like Michigan to beat Texas. All right, so that is through 2 rounds. Let's go up to the third round. Let's go up to the South again, where we will have Florida against UCLA. Now remember, we're changing sites here. We are in Memphis for these games. This is the Sweet 16. Florida, UCLA in Memphis in the South bracket. You gotta like Florida here. To me, they've been the best team all year. They've been so consistent. All those seniors, they don't get rattled. I like Florida beat UCLA and get to the Final 8. Then on the bottom half, you have Syracuse against Kansas. What a tasty game this is. Gotta keep an eye on Abib to see if he gets back for Kansas. If he does, I think Kansas wins. I think he will be back for this game. They're saying he's going to be out a week, but who knows? I think Kansas has enough to get through. Very interesting game, so I like Kansas beating Syracuse and getting to the Elite 8. All right, let's get down to the East, the Sweet 16. These games will be at Madison Square Garden, not too far from here. I may have to go to a couple of these games. Virginia against Michigan State. What a really nice game. This is, a lot of people are picking Michigan State to win this whole tournament. I think everyone on ESPN picked Michigan State to win. I'm going to take Michigan State here too. I'm going to jump on the bandwagon. Izzo is a tremendous tournament coach. I mean, they're healthy now, Michigan State. I love what they did in the Big Ten tournament. Listen, I don't want to disrespect Virginia. They've had a solid season, but they are running into a buzzsaw here in Michigan State. Should be a really fabulous game. That's a must-watch game. I like Michigan State to barely win that game. Bottom half there of the East at Madison Square Garden, Iowa State against Villanova. Very, very interesting game. Interesting to see if Villanova takes over the Garden as far as the crowd. I mean, Philadelphia, not far from Madison Square Garden, could be a Villanova house that could impact the game. But I've been saying it all year. Iowa State is my surprise team, so I'm going to take Iowa State to win this game. Look, listen, it wouldn't shock me if Villanova won, especially with being in the Garden. I think that's going to be all Villanova fans. But I think Iowa State pulls it out. That's another fabulous game. I like Iowa State to get to the Final 8. Let's go up to the West. Third round, we go for the West. We will have, this is in, where are we here? In Anaheim. We are moving over to Anaheim for the Sweet 16. Arizona against San Diego State. Very nice game, but I think Arizona is just too much for San Diego State. I like Arizona to move on. Also in Anaheim in the Sweet 16, you have Creighton against Wisconsin. Very, very interesting game. I'm going to go with Wisconsin here. I like Bo Ryan. I like their team. Got off to a really shaky start this year, Wisconsin, but they've really rebounded, played really, really good basketball this year. I like Wisconsin to get to the Elite 8. So that is the West bracket. That is in the Anaheim region there. All right, let's go down to the Midwest. Then we will be moving to Indianapolis in the Dome for these games where the Indianapolis Colts play. Top half of the bracket, Kentucky against Louisville. Are you kidding me? In the Sweet 16, Kentucky, Louisville, in Indianapolis, where both fan bases will be represented. This is must-watch television at its best. I think Louisville's better this year. Kentucky's been overall disappointing. They have been playing better lately. Very interesting game. Big rivalry, as big as it gets. I'm going to take Louisville to get through here. Bottom half of the Midwest bracket in Indianapolis, Duke and Michigan. Another fabulous game. Must-watch TV again. I'm going to take Michigan to eke it out over Duke. I mean, that should also be a fabulous game. Could go either way in that game. I'm going to take Michigan. All right, so we are in the Elite 8. Let's go back up to the South, where I have Florida and Kansas playing in Memphis with a trip to the Final Four on the line. Listen, I'm going to take Florida with their senior leadership. Kansas has a lot of freshmen. We don't know about the big man, how well he's going to play when he gets back, if he gets back at all. I think Florida's defense is going to shut down Kansas. I like Florida to move on and get to the Final Four in this game. Let's go down to Madison Square Garden, the Final 8, where we have Michigan State against Iowa State. Another really, really interesting game. But I like what I see from Michigan State. They look like they're peaking at the right time. Won the Big Ten tournament. They're healthy now. I think Iowa State's season comes to a close. They're a good team, but I think Michigan State is better. Michigan State gets to the Final Four as well. Let's go up to the West in Anaheim, where we will have Arizona play Wisconsin in the Final 8. I like Arizona here. I mean, I'm trying to find a team that can beat Arizona in the West, but the West to me is the lightest bracket of all of them. I think Arizona gets through here and gets to the Final Four. If Arizona is going to lose, I think it's going to be to Oklahoma State in the second round. And I think they have enough to get through that game. I don't see any of these other teams beating them. I don't see San Diego State beating them. I don't see Wisconsin beating them, or Creighton or San Diego State. I'd love to pick against Arizona, but I can't. So I think Arizona comes out of that Anaheim Sweet 16 bracket there, and they get to the Final Four. Let's go down to the Midwest in Indianapolis for our Final 8, where we have Louisville against Michigan. Another tremendous game. Remember, Louisville won the title last year. They beat Michigan. Remember, Michigan got all the way to the championship game last year. Michigan's playing without their big man. I mean, I think that's going to be the difference here. If the big man for Michigan was playing, I might pick Michigan this game. He's out. Looks like he won't be back for the tournament. I'm going to take Louisville to get to the Final Four. So my Final Four will be Florida against Michigan State and Arizona against Louisville. And the Final Four is in Dallas, Texas. That's where the Cowboys play, Jerry Jones Stadium over there. So that is the Final Four. That's the way I have it. Now from there, Florida plays Michigan State. I mean, you talk about a great game. What a tremendous game if we get it. That will be Florida against Michigan State. I'm going to take Florida in that game. I know everyone's picked Michigan State. I think people are disrespecting Florida a little bit. They're forgetting how good they are, forgetting what kind of run they've been on. I mean, Florida hasn't lost in months. I know Michigan State is peaking at the right time, but I think Florida is a little better than Michigan State. I'm going to take Florida to win that game and get to the national title game. On the other side, Arizona against Louisville. Listen, I've been trying to pick against Arizona the whole tournament. I got them to the Final Four. This is where the season ends. Louisville is as hot as anyone in the country. I like Louisville to knock off Arizona. So I have Florida against Louisville for the national title in Dallas, in Jerry Jones Cowboy Stadium, in front of, I'm sure, a record-breaking crowd. I mean, I think it's going to be a great crowd, great atmosphere, tremendous game. Florida, Louisville trying to win back-to-back titles. Florida trying to win their third title under Billy Donovan. And I'll tell you why. If Billy Donovan wins his third title, he's an elite company with all-time great coaches. Go take a look at coaches that have won 3 or more titles. They're some of the all-time greats. Billy Donovan wins. You got to put his name in the conversation. And you know what? I think Florida's going to beat Louisville. I think Florida's going to win the title. I think Billy Donovan is going to get his third national title. I think Florida has been the best team for a while now. They haven't lost, like I said, in months. They play great defense. They have senior leadership. They don't get rattled no matter what the score, what the situation. They stay calm. Even when Kentucky was making a run at them in the SEC title game, they stayed calm. I like Florida. I've liked them for months now. I'm not going to pick against them. I am going to take Florida to beat Louisville in what should be a fabulous championship game. I think the Final Four is going to be great. I think this whole tournament is going to be fabulous. This is must-watch TV. Please, if you haven't watched the tournament before, please check out some of these games. It should be fabulous drama. I love the tournament. Can't wait for it to get here. So once again, my Final Four. Florida against Michigan State, Arizona against Louisville, then the title game, Florida against Louisville, and I have the Florida Gators winning the national championship. That's the way I see it. So we'll see how many of these games I get right. I'm sure after the first couple of days, my whole brackets will be blown up just like everybody else's. You can't predict these games. Who knows who's going to make the Final Four? Remember the year Butler made the Final Four, and Wichita State, VCU. What about the year George Mason made it to the Final Four? You never know what's going to happen in these games. That's why we love it so much. So please, guys, enjoy the tournament. Enjoy these games. I'm going to be back with you guys next week, and we'll dive into the Sweet 16 and the Final 8. And then the week after, I'll have Joe Spano from Sirius Satellite Radio here, and we'll pick the Final Four and the championship game. So once again, you guys, thanks for tuning in. Enjoy the games. Stay safe, especially if you go out tonight for St. Patrick's Day. Have a great time, but stay safe. I will talk to you guys next week for the Sweet 16. Talk to you then. Take care.